Do y'all remember what's special about an arithmetic sequence? We're always adding the same value. Yeah, so arithmetic sequence is one where we're always continuously adding the same value to get to the next one. Do you have your packet with you? Go ahead and get that out and take some notes, please. So I'm going to give you an example of an arithmetic sequence. I'll start it out for you, and I'm going to have you finish it up for me. And the first example I'm going to give you will be in the form of a table. So we often see sequences expressed in a table. Instead of x and y, we use n and t of n. And n goes from, sometimes it starts at 0, sometimes it starts at 1. So we're going to do 5 entries in the table starting at 0. I'm going to give you the first 2. I'd like you to find the rest for me. So 12, 19. And I am telling you that this is an arithmetic sequence. So take a moment, see if you can figure out how much we are adding or subtracting to get from 12 to 19, and then continue along in that pattern. By the way, very likely you're going to want a calculator today. So if you've got your own, get one out. If you don't have one, feel free to borrow one of the ones at the back of the room. I'm hopeful that you do not need a calculator for this problem, but just in case you want to check your answers. Morning. Nope. So what did you find our pattern was here? That this is arithmetic when we're adding or subtracting something. Definitely looks like we're adding, right? How much? +7. Does anybody remember the vocabulary term we learned last Friday for the thing that we're adding? It was a 2-word term. Its initials were CD. Common difference. Good for you. We would call this the common difference. Please write that down so you've got it in your notes. That 7 is our common difference. Remember, you can always find the common difference by taking any term in the sequence and subtracting the previous one. So if I went 19 minus 12, that would give me that +7. All right, so that means if that's +7, then we're going to continue to do +7 to go up in our sequence. So 19 plus 7 gets us to 26, plus 7 gets us to 33, plus 7 gets us to 40. And this would keep going. That's what my little 3 dots there mean. We feeling okay about that so far? We learned some notation for sequences on Friday also. Can anybody tell me what t of 0 is for this sequence? What's t of 0? T of 0 is 12. So when you see t with a parentheses and a number, they're asking you to find the n value of that number and then tell me what the term is. So the 0th term is 12. I want everybody to please write down t of 3 equals, and go ahead and write down what t of 3 is equal to. That would be the 3rd term of the sequence. So look at your table, find an n value of 3, and find the value of the term that's next to it. That's going to be your answer there. Did you get 33? Awesome. I know it's kind of weird with the 0th term, right? So if I were to write this in a list, I wouldn't actually write the 12. I would start with the 19 because 19 is the first term. But in a table, sometimes we include the 0th term. I know it's strange. It's strange. I warned you guys on Friday last week, this idea of the 0th term was going to be a little bit weird for you, but you'll get used to it. All right, we also talked about how to write an equation for a arithmetic sequence on Friday. When we write an equation, we're going to write an equation that says T of n equals, and it's going to look a lot like our y equals mx plus b plus u. But instead of m and b, we're going to have some other values. However, they come from the same place as they would if we were dealing with the linear equation. Remember when we were dealing with the linear equation, when we saw 0 for x, that would be our y-intercept or our starting value. Same idea here. This 0th term will always go into our equation after the variable. Okay, it's going to be our constant. In this case, this is going to be a plus 12. And the common difference, whatever the common difference is, always going to be the coefficient on our variable. So we've got positive 7 is going to go on there. And I like to draw lots of arrows in my notes. So I'm going to draw some arrows to kind of show where those things in the equation came from. If that's something that's helpful for you too, go ahead and include some arrows as well. That'll help you on your notes. We have to use this on a problem. So the 0th term and the common difference end up in the equation. And we're going to do one more thing with this example, then we'll look at one other example. I would like you to, now that we have an equation, find me T99, the 99th term. This is where you're going to want a calculator. So to find the 99th term, you need to take this equation and put 99 into the equation in place of n. So I would do 7 times 99 plus 12. And if you don't want to do that in your head, I understand. You do it in your calculator. I think I can do that in my head. 7 times 100 is 700, but this is one less than that. So that would be 693 plus 12 is going to be 705. 705 sound right? Yes? Josh, nailed it. So if I were to list out all these terms all the way out to the 99th term, I would find that 99th term would be 705. We don't have to list them all out, luckily, because we have an equation. All right, any questions on that example? Okay. We're going to do one more example. I'm just going to build a little wall here so I don't get them mixed up. This is also going to be under arithmetic sequences. All right, this time I'm going to give you the sequence as a list. 60, 55, 50, 45, 40, ... Now keep in mind, when we get a sequence in a list, the first term is our first term. That's our first term. This is our second term. This is our third term. Now, eventually we are going to want the 0th term because we're going to want to write an equation for this. And the 0th term is the thing that is the coefficient on the end. So we are going to need a 0th term as well. Before we do that though, could I get you guys to find me our common difference, please? The common difference would be, how am I going from one term to the next? Did you say minus? It's negative this time. So the common difference is allowed to be negative. And again, I'm just going to write that word down, common difference. Can you put that phone away, please? Put it in your bag, please. So then we can use that common difference to figure out what our 0th term would be. Because we can go the opposite direction. Instead of going forward by going -5, we would go backwards by doing the opposite of -5. What's the opposite of -5? +5. So what would our 0th term be then? It would be 65. We're going to use that to write an equation here. Before we do, let's just practice what we were doing over here. Let's write down what is T0, and let's go ahead and do T3 again. So T0, the 0th term is 65. T3, the 3rd term is what? 50. Now go ahead and write me an equation for this sequence. T of n equals something n something. See if you can remember where all the pieces come from. What should be the coefficient on my n this time? What should be my coefficient? Should it be the 65 or should it be the -5? The -5, that's my change. And then the 65, that's my 0th term. That's going to be my constant value over here. So this one, again, I like to draw arrows. So I'm going to draw some arrows so I can see where these things came from. And if I could, would you please, if I could get you to find T of 99 for me for this one. T of 99. All right, let's see if I can do this one in my head. -5 times 99 would be, that's -500, but 1 less than 100, so -495 plus 65, so plus 5 would be -490, plus 60 would be -430. Woo! On a roll today. All right, do you guys still have some space on that page for your geometric sequence notes? Awesome. We're not going to do those today. But we want to make sure we've got space for them later. We might actually. We'll see how time goes today. I want to practice this today. So I've got a handout that I'm going to pass out to you here. Actually, does anybody want to help me with passing stuff out today? When you want to pass her out, or well, come on, you guys got to sit down all day long. This is your chance to get up and move around. Thank you very much. I'm gonna get that side and I'll get this side. Sure. There you go. One for you. Can you make that phone invisible for me, please? This time I gotta do the paper bag thing, so put it in your bag or put it in your pocket, okay? I've asked you twice. You're welcome. I think we're good. Thank you, I appreciate it. One more? You got him? All right. So let's have a look at this. If you're feeling pretty confident and you want to go ahead and somebody need to silence their phone, Go ahead and take care of that. It's okay. That happens. Especially first class in the morning. If you're feeling confident and you feel like you don't need an example here, go ahead and strike out on your own. But I'm going to go over one example with the tables and one example with the lists with you. And then your goal is going to be to finish up the rest of this. And then we'll have some time for you to work on our assignment for today too. So if you're working with me, go ahead and let's have a look at number 1. See if you can start by finding your common difference. Once you find that common difference, use it to fill in the rest of our table, please. What's our common difference in number 1? Plus or minus? Plus how much? 5? All right, plus 5. That seems to be consistent here. So we'll use that to fill out the rest of our table. Counting up by 5s, 11 plus 5 is 16, plus 5 is 21, plus 5 is 26. Now we just need to write our equation. And we have all the pieces we need because we know what the 0th term is. The 0th term is 1. We know our common difference, which is 5. So T of n is going to be something and something. Common difference is the coefficient. The 0th term is the constant. And we're done. All right, I'm going to skip down to number 4. Number 4 is a little bit different. And I'll do that one with you. And then the rest are going to be up to you. Of course, I'll be here to support you if you've got questions. Do the same thing for number 4 for me, please. Find your common difference. How are we going from one term to the next? How do you go from 9 to 13, 13 to 17, 17 to 21? Plus or minus? Plus how much? Plus 5? 9 plus 5 is 13. Oh, hang on, check that. 9 plus 4 is 13. There we go. Good save. Plus 4 for a common difference. All right, now we don't have a 0th term here because when they give us a list, the first term that we see is term 1. So we've got term 1, 2, 3, 4, but we need term 0 in order to write our equation. So use that plus 4, but go the opposite to back it up and get to our 0th term. So instead of doing plus 4, go minus 4. So 9 minus 4 would get us to 5. So now we've got our 0th term. Our 0th term is going to be 5. We've got our common difference. We have everything we need to write our equation. Don't forget the T of n part of your equation. T of n equals something n something. The coefficient on the n is our common difference, which we found was positive 4. The constant is our 0th term, which was positive 5. So 4n plus 5 for that equation. Okay. All right, your goal is to finish this up. When you finish it up, please check your answers against my answer key. Look where I'm pointing right now. Boop, 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 right over there. Answer keys up on the board over there. So check when you're finished. If you've got questions, ask a neighbor or ask me and I'd be happy to help you. If you finish everything up, let me know and I'll tell you what the homework assignment's going to be. You can get started on that. Okay. All right, get after it, guys. Let me know how I can help you.